आप सभी में एंजल देखे हैं? एंजल देखे हैं किसी ने? तो आज हमारे पास एक सुंदर मौका है आप आज एक एंजल से मिलने का। हमारे साथ आज एक एंजल जुड़ेंगे नेक्स्ट 30 मिनट्स के लिए। वी हैव विथ अस अ स्पिरिचुअल एंजल। शी इज कॉल्ड एज राजयोगिनी जयंती दीदी जी। We will experience a very powerful, the power of mind session with a equally powerful individuality and personality. She is a spiritual personality and she is an angel. So we have this opportunity कि आज हमारे साथ एक angel जुड़े हैं। Next 30 minutes के लिए हम उनसे virtual session का पूरा लाभ लेंगे। ओम शांति।
Om Shanti. Welcome to Madhuban, God's home and your home. It's a particular pleasure to host all of you in Madhuban. You are all from a professional financial background, and it's the first time that we're having such a gathering here in Abu. And so it's our great honor and privilege to have you here. And amongst the topics that you'll be discussing, of course, yes, we'll be talking about money, we'll be talking about laws, but we'll also be talking about the mind. Why? Because behind everything that human beings do, good or bad, negative or positive, the energy behind it is the thinking, the mind. People have many different interpretations of where the location of the mind is, and whether the mind has anything to do with spirit or spirituality. And in fact, according to not just all our ancient texts, but also according to the clarity of the knowledge that's being given by the one Supreme Parent through the instrument Brahma Baba, we are able to understand exactly how the mind functions and what the power of the mind is and how it can be utilized for maximum benefit for all. For the first question, where does the mind live? Is it in the body? And most of you will probably acknowledge that it's not in the body. However, it is within the soul, within the spirit. And we would say that the soul resides here in the center of the forehead, and from here it's able to mastermind everything that's happening, both within the body and through the body, receiving communication, stimulating communication. It is I, the soul, that is in charge of this physical body of mine, but within the soul itself lives the mind. And the mind has many different layers, of course. We have the conscious mind, the unconscious, the subconscious mind, and then thirdly, the unconscious mind. So the conscious mind, where we create thoughts and we experience feelings, but then the subconscious mind, where we retain memories of many experiences of the past, and we're collecting more memories of the present. And then the unconscious. And the unconscious layer of the self is the layer of samskaras, personality traits. And so these three different layers are the things that guide everything in human life. One of the things that people have sometimes said is that the mind is part of the brain. And yet sometimes when we've seen people in a state of coma, nothing is functioning, absolutely nothing. But if a loved one or someone who's very dear approaches and speaks to that human being, there's still a soul in that human being, the being inside the human frame. In a certain way or another, the soul is able to respond. The mind is able to acknowledge and express to a certain extent feelings. And so in a conscious way, here I am today, and sitting in one place, my mind can be in Bombay or Delhi or London or New York. And so what does that tell me? I'm sitting here, but my mind is able to fly to any of these places, and not just fly in terms of distance, but the mind is able to fly into the past and into the future. For example, where were you yesterday? Press a button and the memory of yesterday will emerge, and you'll be able to tell me where you were, who you were with, what you were doing, your feelings, your experiences yesterday. But if I ask you, where were you when you were 10 years old? Again, you would track your mind back to the past, to that age when you were 10. What was it like? Where was I at that time? Where did I grow up? What were my parents like? All those memories and feelings and thoughts emerge very quickly. But equally, if I were to ask you, where are you likely to be in a week's time, or in a month's time, or maybe even in a year's time, definitely you'd be able to give me some idea of where you're going to be. And so the mind can fly backwards and forwards in terms of time, not just in terms of distance, but also in terms of time. And that is telling me that the mind has this unique capacity to cross all boundaries, all barriers of the human dimension. And so the mind is not bound by anything physical. It is beyond. It is non-physical, metaphysical. It is spiritual. And so we would say mind is part of Atma, the soul itself. And yes, we know that the mind can be my best friend, but the mind can also be my worst enemy. We've seen states in which young people, middle-aged people, people of all backgrounds, especially through COVID and post-COVID, went through periods of great trauma. Their minds were very troubled. Lockdown created many difficult situations. In bereavement, you could not even say proper farewell to your loved ones, but also sudden deaths were occurring all the time. And so the families that were left behind who were bereaved, they had to tolerate a huge amount of suffering. And in some cases, the trauma of that still continues. Not only did we see a pandemic of COVID, post-COVID, we've seen a pandemic of mental health illness. And so the mind truly was very, very troubled through all these experiences. But also, my mind can be my best friend. I create a vision with my thoughts. Maybe I'm an architect, and I create a vision of a building, and I'm able to actually manifest that thought and create a beautiful building with the help of many other people, that I'm able to make that happen. In your profession, the mind works fast, the mind needs to work accurately, the mind needs to be able to focus and concentrate to be able to achieve the best results possible. And so the mind has an influence on absolutely everything that we do. And if I want to make my mind my friend, what do I need to do? I remember meeting a couple who were horse trainers. They lived in Australia and they'd come to see us in London. And meeting them, I was very curious. And so I asked the question, how do you train horses? And they said, all you have to do is when you catch the wild horse, you have to whisper nice things into its ear. And if you whisper sweet things into its ear, the horse becomes very pleased, and the horse will be tame and will do exactly what you would want it to do. And so how do I treat my mind? Do I ignore it? Do I not even acknowledge its existence? Or do I speak to it sometimes? And how do I speak to it? Do I speak to my mind with patience, quietly, calmly, with love? Or do I speak to my mind harshly, telling it off? What is my relationship with my mind? I want my mind to be my best friend, so that my mind can carry me to the highest destination. If my mind is able to be Manmohinivan, like the Gita says, if I can focus my mind on God, then surely this is the highest destination that the mind can achieve. And yes, it's possible for me to do that, but I have to learn to train my mind. Just as the horse trainers with sweet words were able to train and tame wild horses. In the same way, the Gita has described the mind as a wild horse. It can go anywhere and do anything at any time. But this amazing energy, this amazing potential can also be harnessed to do only that which is powerful, pure, elevated, and good. It all starts with me and what's going on in the mind. And so if I can begin my day with just a few minutes of silence, and in that silence, just take a few minutes to go on an inner journey, let's experiment with this right now. You don't have to sit on the floor. You don't have to stand on your head. It's very simple. Many of you, I'm sure, spend time in silence and meditation for a few minutes each day, or prayer, silent prayer, or reflection. I'm sure this is part of your life in a very natural way. Well, let's experiment with Raj Yoga meditation and see how we can use the mind in an effective way to be able to connect with the divine, the source, and through that connection be able to achieve the things that we would like to achieve in our life. We would like to have peace. I'm sure everyone who's gathered here would say, yes, apart from success in my profession, in my career, what I would like most of all is to have peace for myself and peace and harmony in my family. And then maybe next thing you'd say is, well, apart from peace, it would be nice to be happy. I'd like to be able to experience happiness myself and share that happiness not just with my family, but with all my friends and relatives also. And then maybe you'd say that, yes, everyone needs love, and I'd like to be able to experience pure, unconditional love from the divine, so that then that love is able to make me generous-hearted and kind-hearted and compassionate towards other people. And then maybe another thing you would like is truth in your life. In a world that's full of falsehood in every single way, so often our heart really seeks the path of truth. And so, yes, connecting with the source of truth will enable me to move in that direction and not just find the truth, but actually be the embodiment of truth in my own life also. And then, yes, so often we've heard about the power of purity. We worship the gods and goddesses because of their purity. But yes, as a human being, it's very easy and very natural for me to do the same and experience the same, to be the embodiment of purity also. All these qualities that I've been mentioning are there in the source, the supreme, the divine. and my mind turning towards the divine, focusing on the divine, means that all of these treasures come back to me. And so I become a reflection of the divine also. And this opportunity is not just for a handful, not just for a lucky few. It's an opportunity that's open and available to the entire human family. I only have to seek, and surely I will find. I only have to remember the one, and surely he will seek me out and make me belong to him. So let's experiment for a few moments. Just sitting where you are, I'll share my own thoughts as I reflect and invite you to follow these ideas. Sitting quietly, I decide to go on an inner journey. I visualize a being of light, a shining point of light located in the center of the forehead. And I can feel not only the light of the divine, but also the light that I am. I am the inner being, the being of light, and my thoughts connect with the Supreme, the source of light, of love, of peace, of truth, of joy. My thoughts connected to the divine are able to draw all these qualities within the self. And as I begin to feel peace that is lasting peace reach me from the divine, it's as if everything around me in the physical world has become very calm and peaceful. In this connection with the divine, my thoughts focus on God's love, and from the ocean of love, my mind absorbs the pure, unconditional, non-judgmental love of the divine. And as I feel this, my heart opens up and I'm able to feel the power of forgiveness, the power to be able to let go. I'm able to feel the power of the Supreme reminding me that I have to return to my original state of goodness, purity, peace, love, and truth. I hold this awareness within myself, and I step back into the awareness of the physical dimension. But now I bring the qualities that I have experienced from the divine here into my life. Thank you for joining this experiment. Just 3 simple steps. Inwards, upwards, and then outwards. When my mind has connected with the divine, in this awareness of Manmohinivan, turning my mind to one and making that connection, yoga, union, communion, communication, through which all the qualities of the divine are able to reach me and fill me, I go through a process of transformation. And then it impacts everything in all that I do. For example, the peace that I experience is such that the heat of anger dissipates, evaporates. I'm no longer going to shout at anyone. I'm no longer going to scream. I'm no longer even going to get irritated. I'm going to stay very calm, very peaceful, knowing that the highest quality of work can only happen when there's calm atmosphere. If I'm disturbed inside and others catch that vibration and in return they get disturbed also, then in such a situation, to what extent can there be accuracy and efficiency at work? And then in the home again, if my reactions are negative reactions, one in which I'm expressing anger or irritation, what is the atmosphere within my home going to be? Not a very pleasant, not a very happy one. But if I can stay calm and share joy and love with my family, they'll look forward to my coming home. If I'm angry, they'll be happy that I'm leaving. But if I'm peaceful, they'll be happy that I'm coming. A very good test of my own situation internally is, are people happy to see me arrive, or are they happy to see me go? And so developing peace within my mind by allowing my mind to be quiet and connect with the divine will bring immediate results and great benefit at home and at work. It's so important to recognize that when I focus my mind with the divine and build up that inner relationship, the benefits are something for the here and now. I'm sure there'll be benefits in the future also, but the focus that I achieve today brings me huge, huge benefits in terms of not just the peace, the love, the joy, the truth, the power, purity. All of these things are very naturally then a part of my life. But something more. It means that when I learn to focus my mind in this way, in a very positive direction, the direction of the soul and the direction of the divine, a few minutes of meditation means that the impact of that continues through the next hour. A few minutes just in silence, and the next hour will be filled with peace. We have a system that you'll experience in Abu. It's called traffic control. Every hour, on the hour, what we do is play music through the campus, and whichever room you're in, that will also play the music. And we just take a pause, and for a few minutes, instead of letting the mind rush here and there and in 10 different directions, we allow the mind to be quiet, still, connect with the divine, and fill ourselves and recharge our own inner battery. What happens when your battery in your telephone runs out? Might be a very expensive latest model telephone, but it's of no use. If the battery is charged, then yes, that telephone is going to be able to do its work. But if your telephone battery is discharged, it can't do anything at all. And the state of the human mind today, a state of chaos, unable to concentrate, unable to focus, unable to be positive, always being pulled down by negativity. A few minutes of silence each day, connecting with the divine, allows me to recharge my inner battery, and this inner power of the mind then is able to move my life in the right direction. I'm able to have a mind that's focused, concentrated, pure, and elevated. All of us have elevated thoughts from time to time. But of course, if you think about a roller coaster, it's always easier to come down rather than go up. When the coaster is coming down, it doesn't need any extra energy. When it's time for the roller coaster to go up, it needs an engine, it needs power. And so the state of the world today, a lot of anger, a lot of greed, a lot of ego, a lot of struggles, all of these things mean that my mind is getting pulled down into a state of negativity. And when I understand what's going on, I decide, no, I don't want to allow negativity to be part of my life. I want to be able to be above the negativity so that then I can influence things in the right way. A powerful mind isn't influenced by the negativity around it, but rather it's able to stay up above and bring about a change in the atmosphere. If the soul is weak, the mind is weak, then in that powerless state, the negativity takes over. And of course, then there's sorrow. Anything negative is always going to bring sorrow. And anything positive is always going to be filled with goodness and truth and joy. And so I decide, instead of descending, I want to ascend. But it means I have to learn to make the mind powerful. The mind has a huge capacity, a huge potential, but I need to recognize what it is I must do at this moment so that I recharge my inner battery and I'm able to remove not just negative thoughts, but also think about all the waste thoughts that drain you of energy. You're sitting there, you're supposed to concentrate, and something distracts you, and the mind goes off into a spin, and 5 minutes, 10 minutes have gone by, and not only have I lost my time, but I've also lost my energy. I haven't done very much, but my mind has been racing here and there, and there's an energy drop. And so understanding that I, the soul, am the master of my mind means that I can protect myself. I can ensure that the negativity of the world doesn't impact me. I can make sure that I don't lose energy through waste thoughts. But I don't even want my mind just to have ordinary thoughts. No. My mind is too precious for that. The ordinary things, the mundane things will carry on and it'll be fine. But I want to have my mind to have pure thoughts, clean thoughts, positive thoughts, but also elevated thoughts. If my mind is filled with a power that comes from the divine, from the source, then the power of that is such that it transforms my life and fills it with peace and truth and joy and all the things that I would like to have. But also, that is the influence that I share, the influence that I spread, so that others also can come and experience the same. So I hope that these few days with us in Abu are able to give you a glimpse of how it's possible to elevate your own life, carry on with your work, absolutely, but now do it with that additional power that can come from up above. and the power of your mind will achieve wonderful things and be bringing great benefit to you, your family, but also your work. Thank you for your attention. Om Shanti.